Hello, this is Michael Paul, and this is my perspective. Now, I'm reshooting this video. Some of you may have seen the previous video. I didn't think the quality was that good, so I want to add a little clarity to it. Today's topic is my perspective on transgender in sports. Not transgenderism altogether, because as far as somebody being transgender, whether it's a male becoming a female, female becoming a male, I really don't care. Especially if you're an adult, that's your business, and you can live your life any way that you think will make you happy, and as long as you're not bothering anybody else. But we have transgender in sports, and these are especially what I'm focusing on is biological males competing in women's sports. Now we see this happening all over the place. We see it happening at the college level. We see some people thinking it's okay at the professional level. We see especially happening in junior high and high school. And you have biological males competing against biological females. Now, it doesn't make any difference if you're even transgendering when you're a biological male. If you go to school in certain schools, in certain districts, in certain states, they're trying to push this narrative, and especially pushing it on young women, and it is so completely unfair. Certain places where a transgender male, he doesn't even have to be doing transgender therapy. He does not have to be on estrogen. He has to be doing nothing. He just declares that he's a woman, and suddenly he can go into the women's locker room. He can go into the women's bathroom. He can have a beard, full male genitalia, and he gets to be naked in front of all these young girls that are in this developmental stage where they're going so much that's going on in their lives, and now they have to deal with this. That is so absolutely wrong. It almost seems like molestation on some level. And they're doing it at all these different levels, and the fact that all women, I don't care if you're 10 to 100, they should all be screaming at the top of their lungs. Women fought so long to get equal rights, to be recognized, to be equal. And now they're competing against men who don't even really have to be taking estrogen at certain levels, and they're losing out to all of them. So the men are in high school, they are winning all the sports, setting all the records, they're getting all the scholarships, and they're going to college and totally keeping women away from any opportunity they could ever have. Biological women have a right to compete against biological women. Men transgesturing are still biological males. They have no business competing against biological women. Even one of the greatest people we know that's transgender is Caitlyn Jenner. He himself said there's no way that men, biological men, no matter where they're at in transition period, should ever compete against biological females. He said the advantage you gain early on in life from the genetics and the increased testosterone does not go away just because you're taking estrogen. It's there. It's there for a lifetime. And this definitely cannot be fair. And the insanity of even allowing this to happen at any level, and some states are making laws against transgender males, competing against transgender females. Other states are trying to say it's perfectly okay and that they don't have any advantage. I mean, that is absolute. I mean, it just doesn't get any crazier than that. And then another thing, look at a lot of schools and a lot of people in society are pushing people when they want a transgender. When it's like the schools are trying to take it over. They think they have a right to keep this information from the parents if the child goes to a counselor in school and says, I want a transgender. They actually, in some schools, think that they should be allowed to go ahead and get them on hormone therapy without even asking their parents. And I just have a couple of cases that I want to point out. One was a girl, her mom is coming out and spoke against it. Her daughter was around 11 years old, and she comes home and says she wants to be a boy. And she had mentioned this to a counselor at school. So the school is trying to push it, saying, well, you need to get her on hormones as soon as you can. You need to do this. She needs it just like for, basically just push her into being a boy. And her mom says, that's not going to happen. It's my child. So she's going to take it easy. And she talks to her daughter why she wants to do it. Now, the mom does not condone it, and she also does not speak against it. her daughter has a claim and says she wants to be a boy, so she allows her daughter to buy boy clothes, get a boy type haircut, and start living as a boy. Boy games, whatever those are. And so the daughter seems very, very happy, goes to school as a boy, plays with boys in the neighborhood, dresses as a boy, and the daughter seems very happy. So now the mom is not patting her on the back and saying this is right. She's just kind of letting nature take its course. And after about 14 months, the girl goes to her mom, and this is after the school pushing the narrative that she should be on hormones, and says, "Mom, I don't want to be a boy anymore. I want to go back to being a girl. I was just confused." And so the mom did the right thing by putting the brakes on and letting nature take its course and let her daughter try things out. And her daughter went back into the stage. She's a teenager and a happy girl. Now, another one was a girl. She was 14 and she wanted to be a male. So she starts transgendering. The school gets behind her. The counselors get behind her. I don't know how involved her parents were. I'm sure they were because they put her on testosterone. So she starts dressing as a boy, wearing a boy haircuts, wearing boy clothes. She's getting secondary male characteristics, body hair, facial hair. And she was happy for a while. And she was hanging out with guys. And of course, the testosterone is changing her physiology. So after about 15 months, she decides that she really does not want to be a boy and that she was totally happy being a girl. And now she wants to go back the other way. Well, a lot of damage has already been done because now she got to come up to testosterone, let her body adjust to that. Will these secondary male characteristics ever go away? Is something she's going to have to deal with her whole life. But she is now, I believe, suing the school and some counselors and stuff like that. I don't want to get into specifics. But she was so angry, she said nowhere along the way did anybody give her the flip side of the coin. And that means a counselor talking to her saying, well, if you do this, but there's always this other way to go. Maybe just dress as a boy for a while. And she said everybody, the minute she mentioned it, the school, the counselors, everybody's behind her. It was like light speed ahead. Let's get you on testosterone. Let's do this and let's do this, and just pushing her. She goes, I felt like I was literally pushed into being a male, like I couldn't refuse to do this. And she goes, I realized from other counseling that the reason she wanted to be a male, why she thought she did, is because she was a very attractive young girl. And she didn't feel safe. She didn't feel safe the way boys looked at her, people hitting on her, and adult men leering at her and hitting on her. And she felt afraid, scared of this attention that she was getting. She didn't know how to deal with it. And she saw that the boys had a lot of confidence and nobody bothered them. So she became a boy. And she was happy for a while. She goes, when I was a boy, I felt safe. And I felt like nobody. And I didn't have adult men leering at me, staring at me, asking me out. She goes, that stuff went away. But then she finally realized the reason I was doing it, because as an attractive young girl, I did not feel safe. And here is the reason that the brakes on these type of instances need to say, whoa, let's put the brakes on. Let's take it slow. Let's make sure that she's seeing a counselor that doesn't have a position on transgenderism one way or the other, just so she can freely talk. She would have had the right counselor. They would have gotten to the point to where she wanted to do this is because she didn't feel safe going out in society, didn't feel safe with the way, especially adult men were looking at her. And all the damage that was done to her with the testosterone, she wouldn't be going through right now. Now, I don't know where she's at right now, if all the male characteristics have gone away. Hopefully she's doing well. But that's the reason that the schools have no business pushing this narrative and telling parents that, yeah, if your kid's going to be transgender, we're going to do it. We don't even need your say-so. You have no right to interfere. This is a family matter. And when something like this happens, it's serious. And it needs to be dealt with at the family level, and they need to make these choices about how they're going to progress as they go along. They should take it slowly. Once somebody's an adult or close to adulthood and they felt this way, let them do whatever they want to do. But not when people are 11, 12, 13, 14. We live, when I was growing up, it was complex enough, the thing between male and female, but it was pretty well defined. Now we live in a complex world. Everything is very just the complexity is crazy, and you're exposed at a young age to transgenderism and drag queens and males becoming females and females becoming males. I don't even know how children navigate that nowadays. That has to be so absolutely mind-boggling and confusing to a lot of young people that really haven't found their identity yet. They're really not sure who they are, whether they're a male or a female, and they need to take time and put the brakes on and develop as a young person and let things happen. I have no problem with people when they're a little bit older and they know they want to do this and they have support of their family, or if they're an adult, let them do what they want to do. But when it comes to transgender males in female sports, the advantage that they have never goes away, and eventually there will be no female in sports. There'll just be a bunch of men who claim that they're women, and that's what you'll be watching on TV, and the national soccer team, and WNBA, and everything will just be filled with men, and women will just be washed out because, oh, well, they'll say, we want these men that claim they're women because they can win the basketball games, and you can't. You could before when it was women against women. That can't happen. So the bottom line, America, wake up. Look at what's going on. And especially if you have young daughters, and if you're women and you have granddaughters, you need to all be standing up to keep a fair playing field for your daughters growing up, and to make sure that biological females get to fairly compete against biological females. My name is Michael Paul, and that is my perspective. Have a great day.